Welcome to Belong and Bloom, a sanctuary for Black women to rest, heal, and grow.
I'm Marianne.
And I'm Vanetta. We're qualified therapists and coaches, and we're so glad you're here.
This is a space to slow down, gain perspective, and reconnect with your purpose, power, and peace.
Through honest conversations and shared wisdom, we'll explore what it means to truly belong to ourselves and to our community.
Healing isn't a solo journey. It's something we grow into together. When we belong, we bloom.
Welcome. We are so excited to invite you to our final episode of this season, episode 8. And today we're going to reflect on the episodes that came before, how the season of topics and themes have impacted on us and what we were able to take out of them. So as we start the conversation, Marianne, the first question is, when you think about confidence, what is one thing that you believed about it earlier in your life that you see differently now?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And it's also a great way to reflect on our journey so far on Belong and Bloom. I think earlier in my life, I thought confidence was about showing up a certain way. It was about having that executive presence. It was very much that sort of like outward expression of what's internal, which in a way it's still correct. But I've come to recognize that confidence is almost, for me, I now believe confidence to be almost it's a state of rest where you find a deep contentment in the values that you hold, a deep contentment in your strengths and your limitations, to know that you are on a forever journey of becoming. And there's a form of rest in that. I'm so confident that I don't need to overcompensate. I'm so confident that I don't actually need to be striving to be accepted and to make meaning out of a situation. I'm confident enough to be contented in the values that I hold and to trust and have faith that it's going to bring out the types of fruits that I need it to. I'm confident in the fact that although today I might have this limitation, I know it doesn't stop me from truly being my true and whole self. I'm confident in even the moments where I don't feel confident. I'm confident that I'm still me. So for me, like, confidence now is less about that expressing, like going to, like presence, I'm here. But it's more about just that contentment in who I am. And knowing that I don't fluctuate because of the circumstances, but I'm fully grounded in my core identity, my values, my beliefs. Yeah, that's what I would say. I started deep. Yeah. How about you?
I think for me, the themes are similar in that I always thought that you had to learn how to be confident. This was something that was trained. I didn't quite believe that you were born with it, because I didn't feel confident when I was young, but I always felt like confidence was like something I was going to exude in the future. Like, I was confident about the fact that I was going to be a confident person one day, even though when I was younger, that was not my reality at all. So I always thought I just need to train myself properly. I just need to get the right qualifications. I just need to, be in the right rooms, have the right skills. And like you said, it's all the outward things. But as you were explaining so beautifully how confidence shows itself for you, one of the things that it reminded me of is that actually confidence is being or accepting your becoming, really.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
You're becoming. When you can truly accept who you are becoming, like you said, your lows, your highs, your strengths, your weaknesses, your blind spots, your areas of enlightenment, and can just accept that and be and not be critical about that. That is really a confidence for me, being able to just sit in, this is who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's such a beautiful way of putting that. Accepting your becoming, because it's a forever journey, and recognizing that we don't remain stagnant in our identity, and we really shouldn't. If anyone's remaining stagnant, that's a problem. Every second we are growing, we are stretching, we are developing, we're encountering new things as they unfold. And so it's a forever journey of becoming. But it's enjoying that journey, it's soaking it in, leaning fully into it, being curious about it, being excited about it as well. So yeah, I love that.
So maybe it's not even just accepting, like you're saying. It's like, I love the word that you used, enjoying. So it's embracing it, because acceptance kind of adds a little bit of a almost neutral, non-emotional element to it, where it's like, okay, it is what it is. But embracing or enjoying into it, so
exactly. I like, or resting in your becoming, like, just being able to take it all in, because I just think that we set such high bars sometimes, and we go, I'll be confident when, or if, or whatever, or when this happens, it's a sign of my confidence, and we put too many parameters around it. And then confidence, like your younger self used to see it as this thing that you would reach, a status that you would reach in the future. We sometimes do that in our adulthood, where we just keep moving the goalpost. But it's actually being contented, being satisfied, and finding joy and meaning in what we have today, So and also, I guess, also just recognizing that there are aspects, things that can derail our confidence as well, and things that can diminish it. But it doesn't mean that internally the confidence isn't there. Sometimes it's just like the environment causes an eclipse to our confidence, but like any eclipse, the sun is still there. It hasn't gone away. And so
brilliant. I love that. That's such a good way of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think confidence is one of those things that we speak about so much in the world of work, in coaching, in counseling, and things like that. And I just think it's important for us to really unpack, actually, what is confidence truly? It's not a stagnant state. It's a forever evolving journey that we go on. So
Okay.
Do you want me to ask you the next question?
Go ahead.
So it's been so enjoyable doing this Belong and Bloom podcast. I've honestly really enjoyed it, and the topics that we've explored, and the conversations we've had, and the laughter that we've shared as well. And so I'm just thinking, like, looking back over this season, is there a topic or a conversation that's really resonated with you? If so, like, what is it and why?
I mean, I feel like we've had some really great conversations, and I've really enjoyed, same as you, I've really enjoyed all of them. There are a couple that stand out more than others, and the one that I think I've enjoyed the most, has resonated most deeply with me, is the one that we did on finding us beneath our roles, being more than what we do. And I think one of the reasons it resonated so deeply with me is because we've spoken about this already. We both wear many hats. Even getting to this recording today, there's a lot that's happened in the background.
If people knew.
If people only knew. So I think that it resonated with me, because it was literally like a mirror held in front of me and my life, and recognizing that because of the many roles that we hold and that we take up, it's so much more important to give ourselves grace in the becoming. So again, going back to that space of embracing that journey of becoming, giving ourselves grace. We spoke about this concept of self-compassion, and how important it is to have that for ourselves, even as we navigate the different roles that we have. One of the things that we also spoke about in that episode that kind of still stands out to me, and I think it's also because I see it reflected in client stories, is that many of us didn't necessarily get the childhoods that we deserve. And so our brains and the ones that our brains needed for us to feel safe in ourselves. So there's a lot that then has an impact on how we navigate the world now. And I think one of the things that we discussed was how important therapy is in that space, with the many roles that we have, but also with the childhoods that we've had that aren't necessarily the just a collection of happy memories, let's put it that way. Therapy is actually a beautiful space for us to just have attention given to us. Just to have someone there that's truly listening, truly seeing us and validating us, not to appease, but to give us that attention that is required so we can actually grow properly.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. That is really beautiful. And I like how you also recognize that a lot of these things that we experience didn't start with us, and recognizing that sometimes it's a bit of long-term work to create and set new foundations, but it's worth doing. Exactly. Because not only does it change our lives, but it transforms the lives of those around us. And so we juggle many roles, we take on so much, and it's good for us to almost do that little check-in or audit for sure. Yeah, that's amazing. So have you been reflecting on that just for yourself then as well? So
for me, it's also, I always have this, it's a joke, but it's not really a joke with my clients, where I'm like, one of the things that you're going to get tired of hearing me say is self-compassion. And I guess the episode reminded me of the fact that I need to say that to myself on a consistent basis. Well, self-compassion. So now when I've worked with clients for a longer time, they're like, there's that self-compassion again. I'm like, compassion.
It's true. You know what? It's the same with me and my clients. I'm always talking about self-compassion to the point I'm like, should I try to unpack this differently? Should I? But it's all just self-compassion. Self-compassion is so overlooked, and it's often ignored. But it's such a core part of how we exist, because we're relational beings. So we are built to be in friendships, in relationships with others. How can you be in relationships with others if you don't know how to model a good relationship with yourself? And we, as a Christian, in scripture, we know it's the second command, as Jesus summarized the 10 commandments into 2. That was a prerequisite for how you love others, to be able to love yourself well. And so, and I always say that because it's important. It's so important. And
it reminds me of, I was just going to say, it reminds me of something my supervisor asked me discussing client cases. And they were like, so as we are talking to clients about, their relationships of being safe spaces and how to navigate safe spaces in their relationships, are they safe spaces in themselves? And then also the question to me directly, Vanetta, are you a safe space for yourself? And it's like,
wow. Let me just sit with that a little
bit. Yep. So once again, self-compassion.
I know. We're humans too, as therapists and coaches.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, it is so important. It is so important. Yeah. Actually, as you're talking about, it feels like an important just reflection point for all of us.
Absolutely. So what about you, Marianne? Was there an episode or a conversation that resonated with you?
I think as a complement to that episode, I think the second episode on rest, and recognizing that rest is such a crucial component to our well-being and our sense of fulfillment and joy. And it's interesting because for my women's program, we've been talking this month, we've been focusing on well-being and wellness. And I was saying how I read an article a long time ago, and one of these leading researchers and doctors and stuff said if they could have a pill or a tablet that would solve the majority of the world's illnesses and diseases, I think they said, well, I think I'm combining two things, but I think they said something like it would be a pill that would be made up of sleep and exercise. And that would, if you could take a tablet that had a combination of sleep and exercise, and you could just take that, the majority of ailments that people have would be resolved. And it's just all goes back to good rest, and rest not being necessarily it being you got to sleep. But in that episode, what we were talking about was just recognizing what rest looks like holistically. Yes, rest can be physical, it could be recreational, it could be relational, it could be spiritual, the different types of rest. But also coming back to that place of self-compassion and what I was saying about what confidence is, resting in your identity, resting in the values that you hold. So that way you can make informed decisions about what really matters, what is really priority. So that way you won't have that guilt or shame around saying no to something because it's not serving you well. So yeah, definitely I'd say, us talking about rest. And also I know that for Black women, when we think about just the research and the stats on sort of Black women and our well-being, we are one of the most stressed out, overwhelmed, mistreated, discriminated, individuals in the world. And so internally, our bodies are not at rest. We have so much cortisol, the stress hormone pumping through our body. Most of us are in a constant state of having adrenaline, being in that fight or flight mode. And so what does that do? It means that even our brain goes into a place of threat. Our amygdala is hyperactive. We're constantly in that jittery place. And that impacts the way that we're able to make decisions to care for ourselves. It impacts the way that we're able to really apply that self-care to ourselves. And so we have to rest, because the rest allows us to rebalance, and to rebalance not just in chores and stuff that we're doing, but literally physiologically to rebalance, to allow our hormones and our brain and to do what it needs to do so that our bodies can exist in a place that feels healthy and balanced. So yeah, and I guess just on that, I would say I've been thinking about self-care, and I was saying to the women on my program that actually I like to use the term self-stewardship, because I think self-care has this connotation that it's a nice to have, and or you do it the luxury, or you do it if it's crisis, like self-care, like get out the self-care spray, fire, but self-stewardship, the concept of that is, stewardship is used in philanthropy, the world of philanthropy a lot, and also in like Christian church backgrounds, is this idea that you've been given something that is really valuable. And your role is to look after it, to cultivate it. Hopefully you get it from one state, and then you allow it to grow and to flourish and to become plentiful. So if you think about ourselves as a gift, as individuals that are valuable, if I'm a steward of my own life, what I need to do is to steward every part of my life well, so that I continue to flourish and I don't just stay in one state. So physical stewardship, emotional stewardship, spiritual stewardship, recreational stewardship, my gifts and my talents, all that stuff, and really thinking about how I cultivate that well. And to do that, I do need to allow time to rest, to understand what's important. So yeah.
I love that. That's such a beautiful reframe from self-care to self-stewardship, because it is a necessity. And I think that, going to the question of like, what episode did you find most stretching? It was episode 2. It was rest episode. It was listening to the statistics and learning about the statistics of the impact of weathering on, you know, Black women's bodies. It was really
7.5 years older biologically as Black women.
Exactly. I was like, what is this? And I think especially, I think the reason why it was so shocking is because we have this whole joke of Black don't crack.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, you know, we never look at our age, we never look at age. But the reality is that under the hood, so to speak, we are aging much faster than our peers because of the systemic issues that we face on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. Yeah, Black might not crack, but it's fully breaking down internally.
Yeah.
You know, and we need to do something about that and have that radical self-love towards ourselves, because we have to rebalance. We have to rebalance.
Exactly. It's a necessity.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not. It's interesting that that's the episode that really challenged you and stretched you.
Yeah,
just recognizing the impact on us as Black women and that need for care.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would say the same. I think that's the one that just, you know, there's like there's a sadness to that. Wow, that's the reality that we're living in, but also a joy that we can do something about this. Like the things to turn that round aren't outside of our reach. And it starts with awareness to recognize, okay, like these are the things that we need to do to ensure that we are living well. We have to be aware of our environment. We have to be aware of our culture. We have to be aware of loads of things that influence us. And that awareness empowers us to be able to do something about it, you know? So yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Do you, because I'm also thinking about the episode that I really enjoyed was I can't remember which one it was now, Vanetta, when you were talking about imposter syndrome, like our inner critic and things like that. And I liked how you were unpacking the context that we live in and how it shapes our, you know, inner critic and imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome doesn't just start with ourselves. It's recognizing how like the systems that we exist in shape that, you know. I found it really insightful.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that's, I guess, one of my favorite topics to talk about, to think about, reflect on, and that is the understanding and the power of context. And it takes us kind of into the direction of liberation psychology, which focuses primarily on how does the context impact on us as individuals? How do we navigate the day-to-day, and how does the system kind of almost compress into the symptoms that we deal with on an individual basis? Taking imposter syndrome, for example, for so long, it's kind of been deemed as this issue that firstly only women deal with, and then only people of historically minoritized people deal with. And then it's like, oh, actually everybody can have imposter syndrome. And then it's like, actually no, now we're weaponizing imposter syndrome and it's only Black women who've been impacted. And the reality is actually no. The reason why you feel like a fraud is because the system around you is making you feel like a fraud. It has nothing to do with you being too weak. It has nothing to do with you not being good enough. And it has everything to do with what are the truths that you've been exposed to for centuries about what success looks like in a particular field.
I love that.
You know?
Yeah.
So I make the point that actually male nurses will probably also experience imposter syndrome. Male midwives will probably also experience imposter syndrome. Like if you are in a context in which historically your kind hasn't been the majority or hasn't been seen as the kind of benchmark of success, then when you go into that field as a pioneer into that field, it is understandable that you will feel like a fraud because the system and the processes around you will make you know that you don't belong.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's what, you know, I find so insightful, recognizing the context, recognizing the environment, the ecosystem that we're existing in, and how it influences how we show up or choose not to show up in the different roles in our lives. And yeah, I think what you said is so powerful. It's so powerful. And so if anyone definitely wants to hear more on that, Vinetta's got her Fraud to Free. You should remind everyone about that again.
Thanks, Marianne. I'm marketing and I are not friends. So yes, I did write a book on imposter syndrome called Me, Myself, and Imposter: How to Boss Your Imposter Syndrome Through the Fraud Framework. But I also have a brand called fraudtofree.com. And you can take an imposter quiz, but you can also, more importantly, figure out what to do if you do feel like you have a particular imposter type.
I love that. Look at that. There's tools to bring us to a place of freedom, and this is for everyone. This is for men, for women, people of all cultures. It's a tool that can be used across the board. So yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Thanks for the plug, Marianne.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. And okay, so I'm thinking on this journey, because we started this podcast joyfully and excitingly, and with a slight bit of anxiety, would it work? So like when you just think about the journey we've taken on Belong and Bloom so far, what has it taught you about yourself, either as a therapist, a coach, or just a woman, a mum, a wife, whichever aspects of your identity? What has it taught you about yourself?
I think one of the things that it may have reminded me about myself is that I do really enjoy honest and deep conversations. And there isn't often enough space for that. Yes, obviously, as a counselor or therapist, I have constantly deep conversations, but they're not two-way conversations, of course. I'm not client is off focus here, as it should be. But I think it's important to make space for these really deep reflections and conversations, and make space for nuances. I think particularly in the world that we live in right now, there's a lot of clickbait, there's a lot of traumatizing headlines and sound clips and all of that going on. And I think it's really important to make space for the conversations that matter, that take time to unfold, that take time to unravel, conversations where people are listening to each other and learning from each other. I've just been reminded how important that is to me, but also how important that is in this time.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? Like we don't have enough space for these rich conversations that are deep and meaningful. And so having the time to do that here has been really fun. It has been fun, and it gets us to reflect, and it builds awareness, self-awareness especially. And in a way, it's a refresher for us to ensure that we're living in a really wholesome way across the different life areas, for sure.
Yeah. What about for you, Marianne?
What has it taught me? I think we were talking about this earlier. I was saying, goodness, like being able to put together a podcast and to make it all happen. There's so much involved in it. And being able to show up and talk about different topics. Sometimes it's easy to overthink things or to over prepare. And I'm one of those people who loves to prepare, and I can go into perfectionism. But what's been great about these podcasts is that sometimes it's not been the time to sit there and beautifully plan over weeks. And then this is an expression of there's no time. Sometimes it's like, we've got to do this episode and then get back to it. And what it's helped me to know is that, I've spent a lifetime preparing, and that's through all the experiences I've had. That's through all the knowledge that I've gained through life, through studying, through the work that I do. And I can trust that. I don't need to over prepare in every area of my life. I can trust that the preparation has gone before me. and that I have wisdom and I have knowledge that I can extract it and I can use it in the moment.
Yes.
And so that's been like a really beautiful affirmation that, like when I talk, there is so much wisdom that comes out from what I say, and I don't have to over prepare because the work has been done. My husband always says, we've got our degrees, so we just need to trust that. We've done
Come
the
on
work.
now.
We've done the work, and so let's
Yeah.
just trust, so I think that's been like a beautiful reminder that like I can trust the wisdom and the knowledge that I have to be deployed or used in the moment, even without lots of preparation, because I've done the work, and that work has been done through life experience. It's been done through the many degrees that I've accumulated over the years. It's done through the work that I do with clients, and so trusting that. And I guess that echoes on the whole theme of confidence, like that idea of that confidence. It's a foundation that's been set that we can rest on, and we can trust that our identity, our values, etc., are wholesome, and then so yeah, definitely.
I really like that. That's such a good point. And I think because obviously imposter syndrome is a topic that I think about often. That what you're saying is kind of, leveraging what you already know, just going out with that, holding on to your lived experiences as well as your educational background. It's like, those are some of the points to move yourself from feeling stuck in that place of I'm not good enough, I don't know enough. It's just like, start with what you know, start with what you've got. Again, bringing in the faith perspectives, all the sermons that you heard about Moses, start with this, with what's in your hand.
You have your hands.
Exactly. Like, start with that and see where you get to. If you then come up to a point where you're like, oh, actually, maybe I need more training in this, more education in this, fair enough. But often many of us, sit on the degrees and
Exactly. Don't get any more degrees, people. Just leverage what you have. Just leverage what you have. Yeah. So I would say definitely that, just coming to that place of, once again, that contentment, that deep joy and satisfaction in what I do have. Definitely. Yeah. So as we start to wrap up, I guess we want to leave all our wonderful listeners and viewers with just some wisdom kits and guides in terms of how you navigate, whether it's summer for you or winter for you, whatever this season looks like, whilst we close off this episode, how you allow yourself to remain contained, how you can navigate the months ahead well. Taking into consideration all that we've explored around what does it mean for you to show up fully in all the different roles that you have? What does it mean for you to show up confidently? What does it mean for you to rest well? What does self-compassion look like? So we want to throw out some tools to help you with that. Vanetta, should I go first, or do you want to go first with this?
I don't mind. Do you want to start off?
Okay, yeah. So what I would say, especially because I've been working with a number of clients, and one thing that comes up again and again is that we are genuinely so busy as human beings, and we've got a lot going on. And especially, like I said, especially for Black women, like I said, we are in constant state of flight or flight, and adrenaline is pumping, you've got cortisol pumping, and what we need to do is to be able to just regulate ourselves and have those moments that we allow our bodies not to see self-neglect as normal. We allow our bodies and our brain to be able to detect that, hey, like your energy levels have depleted, you need to refuel. We allow ourselves to feel our emotions so that we can act on what is necessary and needed in that moment. So there's 3 things I like to suggest, and anyone who does my Whole Self program knows that this is 3 things that I like to suggest. So the first is to be able every day, try this out for 4 weeks, okay? And the reason why I say 4 weeks is you need to do things consistently for quite a period of time for your body, especially your brain, to be able to detect this pattern of behavior and to see it's healthy. So to every single day for 4 weeks, take out 5 minutes. So you can get your phone and you can just time it. Go into your room or anywhere where you can lie down without any distraction and just close your eyes and just lie down. That's it. That's all you've got to do. Some people are going to struggle after 30 seconds, but do that for 5 minutes every single day. And what that does is it just allows you to be able to have meaningful moments of nothing, where you're just breathing, you're regulating your breathing, you're making sure that the oxygen is pumping around your body, and you can just get yourself into a place of, okay, I can feel my body. Oh, I can feel that pain in my neck. Got to do something about that. Or, oh, I just needed to breathe so I can get back into my day. So that's definitely one thing to try doing every single day. Just set the alarm clock and do that. The second is to every day, once again, for 4 weeks, twice in a day, okay, to just pause just for a few seconds and to ask yourself 2 questions. What is it that I need and what is it that I want? What you need and what you want are not exactly the same thing. But the reason why it's important is what you need is an essential thing that you need to act on. Yeah. So it could be, I need to hydrate, I need to have some water, or I need to wee. It's as simple as that, really simple. And then what is it that I want? Oh man, I'd really fancy to have a delicious chai latte. You know, I'd really like that right now. And what you're doing is, one, you're expressing self-compassion, self-care to yourself by saying it's good for you to have desires. But desires don't need to be justified for you to act on it. It is not essential for me to have a chai latte, but I would really enjoy it because it would be delicious and it would make me happy. And that's a good thing. What do I need? That allows you to know what is essential that you need to act on that you may have been neglecting. Because if you have been super busy, overworked, burnt out, you've taught your body to neglect itself or to see that neglect is normal. And so what you're doing is you're going, no, I want to be able to it's called introspect or introception. The idea of your body being able to be aware of itself, you know. And so you're teaching yourself to be able to do that again. Yeah. And then thirdly, for 4 weeks, everything is 4 weeks, to ruthlessly eliminate the things that cause you to be over busy and overworked and stop you from doing the things that are life-giving. So just find one thing that you can ruthlessly eliminate. Many years ago, about 15 years ago, my husband and I ruthlessly eliminated doing loads of things on a Saturday and seeing loads of people on a Saturday. And it's been the best thing because we enjoy Saturdays just for ourselves. Yes.
I love that. And if you know Marianne, I mean, she's incredible. She's amazing in every way. And she has this really incredible way of putting things into structure so that you can remember the tools that she's providing you with. So there are 3 incredible tools that she's provided. Go and listen back and make sure that you take some time out this summer to complete them, because they are going to be life-changing. I love the pointer on, you know, just regulating through breathing, taking the time, taking the space, 5 minutes of breathing every day for 4 weeks. You know, ruthless elimination is my favorite one. Like, it's the season of no. If anyone has seen the Yes Year, is it Yes Year film? It's an interesting take. It's a film about a mom who decides the Yes Day, I think, decides to say yes to their children for a whole day or a week, something like that, rather than constantly saying no. Difference that it makes in everybody's lives and the family, and how amazing that is. And I'm like, and there is a space for that for sure. But right now I'm in my no season and I'm fully enjoying it. Ruthless elimination sounds absolutely fantastic. And then also the question on, you know, what do you need versus what do you want, and being clear of that every single day. It allows you to have such an understanding of yourself, which then again feeds into successful self-stewardship, which is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Love those points that you've made. I think for me it was more along those themes, but maybe not with the specific activities, which is why I really like your activities. I think one of the things that I was going to suggest to people over the summer to think about and reflect on is, again, with a lot happening around the world, a lot of noise, a lot
Mm.
of, you know, sometimes unnecessary noise, sometimes absolutely necessary noise. I think it's really important to take these months to reflect on, who are you becoming?
Mm.
Who do you want to become? And if you're parents, who are you raising? And who do you want
Mm.
to raise?
Yeah.
And really allow yourself to live from a place of being values driven rather than fears driven. I guess that's one way that I'm trying to navigate these times that we are
Mhm.
seeing and hearing about, like, who am I becoming? Who do I want to become? Who am I raising to become? Is there something that I need to change in the way that I'm navigating the world? What are some of the values that are core to who I am?
Mm.
What some of our family values are: love, wisdom, and courage. How do we show those on a daily basis, even if the
Mm.
is changing? How do we stand strong in these values? So I think it's really important to be clear on what your values are, because your wants and your needs kind of feed into that as
Yeah.
well. So as you're asking yourself, what do I need? What do I want? That feeds into the kind of overarching thing of, who am I becoming? Because sometimes what we want, and sometimes even what we need, is going against who we are becoming.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's resolving those conflicts within ourselves before we then go into a world that is conflict ridden.
Yeah.
How can we show up authentically as ourselves, even as we're engaging with a world that might struggle with that?
Wow. There you go. That's so much wisdom. That is so much wisdom, Vanetta. It's so true. And being, once again, anchoring our identities in our values. So important. So important. Vanessa, I've enjoyed this.
Yes, same. Always, as usual.
Oh my gosh, I've enjoyed this, and I'm hoping everyone that's listening or viewing this have enjoyed it as well. And we're looking forward to the journey ahead together, and hopefully everyone can use these tools and these techniques to just support their journey of becoming.
That's it.
All right. I guess as we close, we just want to say thank you for having tuned in, having soaked up the wisdom, the knowledge. Hopefully you've laughed along with us as well, and as well as gained new insights as well. We, Vanetta and I, love insights. We love knowledge and sharing that. And so what we're going to be doing is working on a program or a course that can really support women to continue on that journey of becoming and gaining insights and really developing and stretching their confidence in all the different areas of their life. So more information on that is going to come out soon, and we're looking forward to having you join us on that and walking alongside you.
Yes, so excited, so honored to have done this season 1 of the podcast. Looking forward to more to come in the future. And as Marianne said, we will be in touch.
All right. See you soon.
Have a wonderful summer.
Thank you for spending this time with us here at Belong and Bloom.
We hope today's conversation offered you a moment to breathe, reflect, and remember, you are not alone on this journey.
If this episode spoke to you, share it with a sister, a friend, or a loved one who might need the same reminder.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen so you never miss an episode. Until next time, take care.
And keep blooming.